Hey guys, it's me, your favorite irresponsible mom who's become irresponsible for the first time maybe ever. And this is entitled, Why Are You So Offended? As you likely recall from previous YouTube videos, I am seriously indebted to society and the government. Though I'm making great headway getting out from under the thumb of paying taxes that merely go toward the interest the government accrues creating currency from selling bonds to the Federal Reserve. But that was the last video. So that being said, welcome back and thank you very much for watching. Your support, or lack thereof, is very much appreciated, and it's needed. In other news, I just want to thank Montanans for keeping things weird up here. I don't care how weird you are in Austin, we're weird up here. We've had our share of really interesting things go on, and most recently a woman in Great Falls faces charges for raping her ex at knife point and peeing on his bed. I don't know which happened before he called police, but I think he might have waited till she peed on the bed to call police. It's hard to say, right? So I believe that she must have left that relationship highly offended. And that leads perfectly into my next subject. Well, the same subject that I mentioned is the title. People are so offended. I know you're dying to know why, because you yourself are finding yourself highly offended as well. Whether you want to believe it or not, you are. This is a time where people are using, this is a time where people are using powerfully charged words and statements such as, you're too sensitive, and you overthink things, or you're just afraid of insert anything I merely had an opinion on, be it small or large. And you're intolerant of what people want. And the most annoying of all, you're judgmental. You're judging. Who are you to judge? What is happening is people are too easily offended about anything, everything, all the time. While this feels often overwhelming for us and seems impossible not to offend someone, remember this. Other people's offenses toward us truly have little, if anything, to do with you and me. In fact, many people don't live their lives with any sort of actual peace at all. Instead, they look for opportunity to argue, take offense, show their smarts, sound off, and allow their pride to rule their lives. I would know. I have lived offended, defensive, angry, prideful, and selfishly a good portion of my life. My expectations of others were constant and unattainable. When people didn't meet my expectations, I blamed them. I would say, you're no different from the rest. I would group them, right? Like they're everybody I've ever met. You're just like everybody else. I believed they weren't thinking above, I believed they weren't thinking of me above all else. And I felt that they should. I didn't know this is what I believed, because when someone would say so, I would deny it no matter what. I allowed their every behavior to mean they were definitely unworthy. And I was proving that every moment with every word they said. And then the wrath came, the wrath. I would explain how much of a mess their life was and why to them. I would brutalize them with every bit of information they ever gave me about who they'd hurt, or how they were hurt, or how they wish things could have gone differently in their life. I would prove to myself once and for all that they would never be good enough for me. There was nothing they could ever say or do that was ever going to work. So what was really going on? I was hurt and angry and holding grudges. I was not forgiving people I didn't even know I was still angry with. I wasn't forgiving people who were no longer alive. I was afraid. I was afraid to relive hurts from the past. I was suppressing them and believing I'm good with my own personal offenses that I wasn't letting go of. And because of that, I began unknowingly being more cautious, more guarded, watching for any red flags, looking for fault. All the while, I was still entertaining the wrong type of people for me. Actually, I was entertaining the wrong type of people for anyone. I was flirting with the devil and justifying myself when they did exactly what anyone would expect somebody like that to do. Regardless, though, at the time, no one could have lived up to my expectations. Absolutely no one. No one could have lived up to what I believed I deserved. And Therefore, I remained offended perpetually, which means never ending offense. When I think about the peace I lose being angry, or the defensiveness and the readiness to fight, I just realize how badly I want to stop being so easily offended. I have to let people have their opinions. I have to let people be who they are. I don't have to agree with it, but I have to let them be who they are and have their opinions. I have to let people express themselves just like I get to do, right? And I have to stop expecting so much in my human foolishness. I have to trust more than my own feelings. I have to drop the pride. I have to surrender my will and my sensitive, overthought out fears of what I will and won't tolerate. And I have to seek proper discernment and wisdom so that I can have loving judgment for everyone. Yes, judgment. Loving judgment. So thank you so very much if you stayed until the end of this video to hear my challenge to you. You are loved. You deserve that love. And I challenge you to stop being offended this week. Don't be offended. Scroll through Facebook. Do it, I dare you. Get on Instagram or get on Twitter. I don't care what the venue is, if it's Snapchat, anything. I don't care. Your job, the newspaper, an article you read on Drudge Report, or maybe you read Cosmo. I don't know. Don't be offended. Let somebody have their opinion, and you can judge it. In your mind, think about why. If you are feeling offended, think about why. And look at yourself and say, why do I want to get into defensive, offended situations all the time? Why do I put myself there? And if you don't think that's you, pay attention this week and see if it is. Just see if you're finding yourself a little bit offended and you never even realized it. Trying to prove you might know a little bit more, trying to prove you're right a little bit more. Just getting a little too angry at just things that don't need your time. Okay, so I challenge you all week, don't be offended. And I hope that you'll let me know in the comments or text or however you message me how you're doing that and how it's going. I want you to do that for all this week and beyond. Good night and God bless.